The DCEU has been a mess for a long time now, but it finally seems like they're finding some direction, or at least trying to, and having a plan going forward, unlike before where they were kind of just going with the wind and figuring out as they went along. Now it seems like they have a plan with James Gunn and that producer taking over, the guy from Discovery trying to sort of get things in line. You got Henry Cavill back as Superman finally, and The Rock also trying to have a big say in the DCEU. So things are getting very interesting with the DCEU, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. Shout out to Blind Ninja from my Discord who suggested I make a video on this. He's the reason I'm making this video, so link in the description if you want to join my Discord and also suggest videos. Anyways, let's get into it. So the DCEU just got announced that I've said the DCEU about 5,000 times this video so far. Sorry about that. But James Gunn and a producer, I don't remember his name, sorry, but James Gunn's the big name there, were announced to be sort of the Kevin Feige of DC for their movies. So I think this is interesting. Some people are freaking out because James Gunn's movies, most people like them, but they definitely have a certain style. And some people were freaking out about this. Some people were very happy. I'm definitely I'm trying to be optimistic about it because I really liked The Suicide Squad, which is the one DC movie he's done. I thought that was really good. I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending with Starro. I love Starro, but the way it was handled to where it was like, oh, here are these villains being good guys and like going for the greater good and having hearts of gold, was not a big fan of that when they're the Suicide Squad. I thought that was dumb. But other than that, I really enjoyed that movie. Thought it was great. There were some really great moments in it, and I thought it was really cool, and I was happy that DC allowed it to be an R-rated movie. Really liked that movie. But yeah, some of his Marvel stuff has not been the greatest. I know a lot of people love Guardians. I like Guardians, but I'm not the hugest fan of it, and there are some things here and there. And Peacemaker, I had a fun time with, but also there's just a lot of jokes that are horrible. And I mean, like, just throwing jokes at the wall every 2 seconds and hoping one sticks, and like 1 out of 10 does. It happens sometimes where it's just like, yeah, I don't want that to be the entirety of DC. So I understand some people being a little hesitant with that. But assuming James Gunn doesn't force his style on everyone, which I don't think he will, I think he could do good. Because there are two things that I like with James Gunn that give me hope. One is that he is a filmmaker himself, so I believe he will let filmmakers do their own thing. Because I talked about this on my podcast where I was saying that with the MCU, most of them, not all the movies, but like 90% of the movies, it feels like it was directed by the same person. Like, you have all these unique people that like, you watch other movies, it's like, wow, they do these unique movies that are cool. And then they get into Marvel, and it's like, do the Marvel blueprint. Like, we have this mold we made, follow it exactly. And that's what a lot of directors have to do. That's what, and I'm assuming Kevin Feige is the main person, like they're like getting them to follow that blueprint and staying in line. Now, again, there are some people that have stepped outside that blueprint, like Jon Favreau, who kind of created it, or the Russo brothers. There are some people that have made some unique movies, but for the most part, if you told someone that had never seen a Marvel movie and had no concept of like how these movies were made, that oh, these were all directed by the same guy, they'd be like, yeah, I have no reason to not believe you because it feels like that. To where with DC, things have been very interesting because everyone's just doing whatever, and I believe that James Gunn will continue the tradition of letting like the filmmakers do what they want and also giving them more freedom because their WB also has like stepped in and stepped on some toes of people as well. We know that. But as of late, they've done better with that. Like with the Batman or the Joker, those were just both movies that the filmmakers just did what they wanted. However you feel about those movies, the filmmakers were able to do what they wanted. And I think James Gunn will let people do that. So I think that's something that's interesting compared to Marvel, where again, it's like we have the formula, follow it. I think DC will be like, hey, we got these creative people that are good at this thing. Let's let them do their thing with our characters. Now, the other thing that I like about James Gunn is, as much as he's not the best at representing the characters on the screen, he does bring obscure characters or not the most well-known characters on the screen because he's a fan of the comics. Now, Vigilante, I really like Vigilante. I've been a fan of Vigilante for a while because I grew up reading Deathstroke comics, and you had Vigilante, like the third Vigilante or the second Vigilante as a part of it, the female Vigilante. It wasn't the original Adrian Chase, but then, you know, Marv Wolfman also brought him into his Nightwing run with the brother of Vigilante, and like, I've just been reading Vigilante for a while since I was a kid, so I've been a fan of that character. Now, in Peacemaker, he's nothing like he is in the comics. It was a horrible representation of Peacemaker, but at least the suit was cool, and I never thought I'd see Vigilante in like a high-budget show. So it's cool seeing him bring in these characters like that, and Vigilante's just one example. He's brought in multiple, like bringing in Bloodsport. Although, again, nothing like his comic book counterpart at all. Bloodsport is a horrible mass murderer in the comics, but in the movie, he's like a good guy that's like misunderstood and actually has a heart of gold and does the right thing. Way different, but still it's kind of cool that Bloodsport got some shine in a movie. That's kind of cool. So that's something that I like about James Gunn, is that he will bring these like obscure characters as the big screen. So those are my two things. One, I think he'll let creatives do what they want. And two, he will like expand it beyond just, oh, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. So I think I think those are two good things to look forward to with James Gunn. Now, I have no clue how he'll be in this role. I have no clue. I have no idea. We haven't seen him in this role before. We don't know how, like, overreaching he'll be. We don't know how, like, standing back he'll be. We don't know how much he's going to be like, hey, we want to build up to Infinite Crisis, or we want to build up to Flash, like, whatever it is. Like, whatever event they decide they want to build up to, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how James Gunn leads that forward. So, yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic with James Gunn. I'm leaning more towards like, yeah, I think he'll do good, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sold on him. Now, the other thing is Henry Cavill is back. I have been wanting this forever. If you've been around the channel for a bit, you know that I am a huge Henry Cavill fan. I think he's perfect casting for Superman. He is not the problem with those movies. And I personally like Man of Steel. I hate Batman v Superman, but I really love Man of Steel, and I thought he was great in that. And he's great in Batman v Superman, the like 25 lines he had in that movie. But I'm really excited to see him coming back. And also, it seems from all the interviews that I've seen with him since it's been announced that he's coming back, he is very much like wanting to have some control over the say of what happens with Superman. Because before, it was all up to Snyder. It was Snyder and company that was deciding everything, and Henry Cavill is kind of just the actor along for the ride. Now you see that, like, he's talking about how he wants to have a meeting with, I think David Zavlov's his name, something like that, the guy that's the head of Discovery, that he wants to have a meeting with him and talk about the future Superman. All the interviews, he talks about how he wants, like, a hopeful, joyful Superman, and it's like, yeah, he's done with this, like, dark Superman. He even talked about it, like, in interviews a while ago, how he thought Man of Steel set, like, a great foundation for Superman to become more hopeful and learn for what happened to Man of Steel. Like, oh, we did, like, the darker stuff. Now it's time to, like, bring Superman to the light. And then they just never did that. And so now it's time for them to do that. Thank God. I assume Henry Cavill's almost 40, but, you know, when you're a Hollywood actor, that doesn't really mean much. So he's still got a bunch of time left to make some good Superman movies. I'm just hoping they keep J.J. Abrams away. That is what I'm scared of. Because every time, like, Superman's brought up for a new movie, people always bring up J.J. Abrams. No. Keep him away. J.J. Abrams is incapable of making a good Superman movie. Do not want him. Now, before, Christopher McQuarrie had pitched a Superman movie to WB, and they told him no, which makes me very upset. But I think he would be great to write and direct a Superman movie. I would love to see him. Matthew Vaughn was rumored, which I think Matthew Vaughn's a great director, but also I feel like he could do some really out of like left field stuff that would be horrible. So I have no clue about Matthew Vaughn. I think visually he's a great director, but I think he could do some weird things with Superman that I maybe wouldn't enjoy the most. So I don't know. But yeah, Christopher McQuarrie would be my pick. I wouldn't be mad about Matthew Vaughn either, but please get someone that understands Superman. I saw a rumor that like the guy that did some of the Harry Potter movies is like on the list for being directing Superman. I've never seen the Harry Potter movies, so I have no opinion of that guy, but he hasn't really directed much else other than like Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts, so I don't know if that guy will be good, but I hope they get someone that knows what they're doing, and I hope they get some writers that actually like Superman. And I really do hope they let Henry Cavill have some say on this too, because in interviews it's very clear that he likes Superman and he understands the character, so please let him have some say. So I'm really happy Henry Cavill's back. And also we just got a rumor, I believe, that for the next Justice League project, it's going to be directed by the guy that's doing the Flash movie. The Flash movie is very interesting because Ezra Miller cannot stop committing crimes, but they are still going forward with that movie. They're still going forward with it, and that must mean the movie's good, because they have no reason to really protect Ezra Miller or like really push forward Flash, because Flash is a popular character, but he's not that popular. He's not like that, like, oh man, he's like not Batman level. He's not there. So, like, WB doesn't really have a reason to really protect this movie unless it's that good, which from what I'm hearing, all the test audiences and everything, it's apparently a damn good movie, and that's why WB wants to protect it and Ezra Miller, because they're like, this movie's really good. We have something great here, finally. We need to keep it going. So that's interesting. And if this guy has really made a great movie out of all this crap that has happened with The Flash, of all the directors that have dropped out, the Flash that they want to make it about Flashpoint, which is a horrible choice for a first Flash movie. I personally am one of the people that actually likes the Flashpoint comic. I think it's really good, but it's a horrible choice for a first Flash movie. No, you don't do that. You don't do Kingdom Come for Superman's first movie. It's like you don't do Flashpoint for Flash's first movie. You don't do some like big event. Like, no, don't do that. But it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope they replace Ezra Miller. That guy's a piece of garbage and does not deserve to be around Flash at all. And also, I did not like his Barry Allen. I don't think he does a good job at playing Barry Allen. He is a good actor, but his take on Barry Allen's bad. So get someone else, please. And then I think the final part about the DCEU to talk about is Matt Reeves, because The Batman is awesome. I love that movie, and he's doing a Penguin movie, and from what it sounds like, David Zaslav, I believe, just talked about this. He talked about how they're essentially going to let Matt Reeves have his own corner and just let him cook. Let Reeves cook. That's what they're doing. They're just like, you're over there, you're not connected to our universe, do what you want. I think that's great. He's a talented filmmaker. Do not make him connected to the DC universe. Do not chase him off. Let him do his own thing with that Batman. The Batman was great. That's a really good movie. Let him do more of that stuff. The only thing I'd say with that they might need to hold him back a little bit is, because I've heard so many things about, oh, they're going to do this Batman project and this Batman project. Don't turn into Sony where you're just taking where they took every Spider-Man villain. Like, we're going to make a movie about every Spider-Man villain. It's like, we didn't need a Morbius movie. What? Same with this. Not every Batman character needs their own solo project. We don't, like, I would be down for, like, different Bat Family movies, like a Nightwing movie and stuff, but, like, we don't need a Killer Croc movie or TV show. Like, you don't really need that stuff, so don't get too carried away there, hopefully. That's my only thing. Other than that, I trust Matt Reeves with how good the Batman was. I'm excited to see more of his universe. But yeah, I think that's it as far as talking about most of this stuff goes. There's like news all the time, so by the time this video goes out, maybe more news came out and I didn't cover it. Sorry if I didn't. Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to hear my thoughts on like Black Adam and the DCU a bit more in depth, I talked about it on my podcast, which will be linked in the description down below, because I just ramble on there for like 45 minutes to where these videos, I try to keep them a little shorter. So link in the description if you want to listen to my podcast. And also, real quick, if you want to know my opinion on the current DCEU, like the actual DCU, not the Batman stuff, here's my ranking of the DCEU. I have that right here, so that's my thoughts on it. Well, that's my summarized how I'd rank it. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. What do you think of the future of the DCU? How do you think it's going to go? Are you excited? Are you not? What do you think of what we've already had? I'm really curious what everyone thinks of the DCU, because it's all over the place. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you later.
Hey, skinny boy, saucy boy, I be running to the bank. Yeah, I hit the gas in the whip full tank. Riding past the ocean while I'm listening to Frank.